Hello everyone, thank you for listening. In this Power BI Essentials edition, I will tell you how to transform raw data to visuals. Before we get into the details, let's take a look. How does it look in Power BI? This is a Power BI report published in the Power BI Cloud service. The first table is an income statement. There are 3 years of data. We can drill up to the total year or drill down to quarter, then to each month. For each row, there are the income statement structure. The total value is the operating profit. One level below operating profit, there are sales, cost of goods sold, and fixed cost. Each sub-element we will be able to continue to drill down. For instance, from cost of goods sold to material cost, field cost. From fixed cost to manageable fixed cost and other fixed cost. When it comes to manageable fixed cost, there are details such as salaries, IT, rents, consulting, marketing, etc. This income statement table will help us to examine the profit by following each and every cost element, as well as sales. In this example, we'll be using Excel as data source. There are 2 ready-made data tables already. The first one, raw data. The second one, mapping tables. We'll first load the data and the mapping table into Power BI, and then create the income statement table together. Let's take a look at the raw data and the mapping table. The raw data include a few dimensions, like individual month, the business unit, and entity. In addition to that, from column H, there are 110 columns, and each column header is account code. Altogether, in this raw data table, there are about 25K rows. As we all know, Excel has limitations of 1 million rows per sheet. To bypass this restriction, we put all the account in the columns. As you can see, it's altogether 110 columns. If 25K multiplied by 110 is reaching the limit, to bypass this limitation, we first put account into columns. And after the data loaded into Power BI, we can utilize unpivot function to transform all these 110 columns into one single column. That is raw data. In addition to the raw data, there is a mapping table. Since we will be creating an income statement, let's first focus on the account mapping. The first column is the account number. All those unique numbers will help us to create a relationship. Based on the income statement structure, we will be mapping those individual accounts into different sales and cost element. Because the account I have are more than the account related to income statement. In column G, there is a flag to help us select only income statement related account. Then, from column H to column N, the hierarchical order for the income statement is created. For finance professionals, you know this quite well, and the company you work for must have a very structured income statement already. So you can easily utilize the structure you have. To save time, I have the Power BI desktop open already. Click Import Data from Excel. Choose the data table. Open. Select the data table. Click Transform Data. The data is loaded in rather fast. First, we will eliminate the unnecessary rows. Click one column, unselect the rows we do not need. Click OK. All the unnecessary rows are filtered out already. After eliminating the rows, we can remove the unnecessary columns just by click, remove, repeat. After we removed unnecessary rows and columns, we will transform all those accounts into one single column. How do we do that? Under Transform, there's one selection, Unpivot Columns. In this case, because I want to unpivot quite many columns, altogether 110, so I will select the first 3 columns that I don't want to unpivot. Then click Unpivot Columns, choose Unpivot Other Columns. As simple as that. Now we're getting 2 columns. The first one, all the account number. Give it a name. The second one, all the values in one single column. The first, change the value data type. Decimal number. Filter to remove 0 or empty field. Each and every step, we try to keep our data model as clean as possible. Let's continue to examine the data type. For the time, I will choose text. The others are good. To load the data, click Close and Apply. This will load the data into Power BI data model. There's one data model loaded in already. Let's continue to load the mapping table. Go to Get Data from Excel workbook. Choose Mapping Table. Select the relevant mapping tables. Transform data. The 4 mapping tables are loaded in already. Let's examine one by one. Rename the mapping table. Account mapping. The second one, rename. Business unit mapping. The third one, entity mapping. The fourth, time mapping. To differentiate, I give the first raw data a name, data table. In the account mapping, account is text field. That is good. There are a few numerical fields. Let's just check and make sure all the numerical field has the correct data type. That's all right. In the data table, we use the text for the month. So in the mapping table, I will use the same data type. Text. And we already have one column with the date type. That is also good. All right, let's load. Altogether, 5 tables are loaded in. The first one is the data table. In addition to the data table, there are 4 mapping tables. From the left menu bar, the second one can help us examine each and every table. The third one, relationships. We will be utilizing this panel to create relationships. Let's rearrange this table relationship view. Let's put the data table in the middle and all the mapping tables around the data table. Power BI is already created a few relationships automatically for us. Let's examine. The account mapping table already linked to the main data table by the unique key account code. Similarly, BU mapping table linked BU to the data table because this unique field has the same header name. Power BI created the relationship automatically for us. The prerequisite for the mapping table to be working is this field must be unique. Entity mapping, then entity linked with entity. The time mapping table, Power BI didn't create the relationship for us automatically. Why? This is because this unique field has different header name. In the mapping table, it is year, month, and in the raw data table, it's time. But no worries. Let's click, drag, and drop. Now, the 4 mapping tables are linked to the data table. With this, let's go to this Power BI visual and data view. We will be creating an income statement table. From a build visual panel, let's choose metrics table. In the filter panel, we can add a few hidden filter for this field. We can either add filter on all pages, filter on this page, or filter for this individual visual. I will first put filter for this page. Let's search I first take this flag and choose only income statement related account. Then I take value from the main data table and put it under value. After that, I would search year and use it for the column header. In the time mapping table, there is already the hierarchical order from month to quarter to year. So in this table, we can easily drill down from total year to quarter, then from quarter to month, and drill up to total year again. Now we add the value and the column. For the row, it will be the hierarchical order for the income statement. Because the hierarchical order is created already in the account mapping table, we can utilize that. Starting from the operating profit, then continue to add the second layer, sales, cost of goods sold, and fixed cost. In this second layer, if you are working in the finance, you can easily see we would like to put sales first, then cost of goods sold, in the end, fixed cost. Let's utilize the index field to sort this text field. Choose the text field, then sort by. Sort by the numerical number already existing in the mapping table. All right, now we have sales on top, then cost of goods sold, in the end, fixed cost. Let's continue to add the next layer. That helps us to drill down from fixed cost, cost of goods sold, and sales. Similarly, we will also sort this layer. To summarize, for each text field, we can sort it by utilizing a numerical field linked for this text field. And all of those can be predefined in the mapping table. By adding next layer, we can continue to drill down. All right. Let's examine this table. Something doesn't look right because we need to deduct from sales the cost of goods sold, then fixed cost. In the end, it is the operating profit. But in this case, instead of deducting costs from sales, it's adding everything up. We need to define this calculation logic for each and every account to make this income statement work. How do we do that? We will be utilizing again the account mapping table. In this account mapping table, for each and every account, there's a calculation logic already defined in one column. In this column, there are two numerical numbers, 1 or -1. By utilizing this calculation logic, we will be able to deduct the costs from sales. Let's go to the transform data. This will open the query view. First, we need to add the calculation logic from the account mapping table to the data table by utilizing the account code. Under Home, Merge Query will help us to achieve this. There are two selections, Merge Query and Append Queries. Merge Query will add more columns to this table. It's like this case. What we want to do is merge two tables. with different columns together by utilizing one individual key column. So we use merge query, append query that will add more number of rows to us. Imagine if we have multiple tables with similar structure. Append will help us to add all the tables together by increasing number of rows. Let's merge the two tables together. We can either merge and create a new table or just modify on the existing one. Choose another table, account mapping, and select account and account. This tool, the same account field, will help us to merge the two tables together. Use left outer. Click OK. However, we don't need all the columns in the account mapping table. We just need the calculation field. Just choose one. After this, add one extra column, custom column. We can create the calculation value, multiply the calculation rule. Click OK. Change the data type into decimal number. Remove the unnecessary columns. Change the column name to value. Close and apply. This will load the updated data model. Let's examine the data table again. The value started to make sense. After deducting cost of goods sold and fixed cost from sales, we are getting the operating profit. The table is working. Let's do some simple formatting. Choose formatting. In the formatting pane, let's first add a title. So I will call this income statement. Put that bigger. Choose what number. For the values, let's put the size bigger to 12. That looks good. Then row header also 12. And bold. Similarly, column header 12, bold. Good. And because the table has year-over-year development, we don't need the total. Let's go and remove the column subtotal. For the row subtotal, we do need that. Is the subtotal value for each account hierarchical order. But we don't need the total. That is under the row grand total. Change the color white and apply to labels. Now all the unnecessary subtotal and totals are removed. Because there are some data for other years. To simplify the data table, I will add a hidden filter to this visual. Right, now this income statement table is in a good shape. By utilizing the hierarchical order for operating profit, we can easily examine the balance sheet and drill down to each sub-element. In addition to that, by utilizing the time intelligence, we can drill down from year to quarter to each month and drill up. Let's add two filters. Choose the filter pane. The first one, I will add the area. For this, let's do some formatting. I will choose tile. This will be easier for the user to read and select. Because the name speaks for itself, we don't need the header. Let's remove this letter header. It's always a good idea to declutter, remove any unnecessary content from the page. The value, let's use size 12, keep it big. I will use lighter gray for the background, so when we select, user can easily see which dimension is selected. In addition to that, let's change the selection. In this case, I will add select all. Then again, it's easier for the end user. Just select all or just select one. Similarly, we can sort this area field by the index. In addition to this, I will create another filter. This time, I will put country name there. For the country, there are a very long list. It doesn't make any sense to use the tail. Then let's use drop down. Still, let's show the show all option. So the user can either select all or just choose one. We just created the first matrix table by using the sample case income statement. In the end, when all those visuals are ready, we can easily publish. I will first save this. After saving the Power BI desktop, let's publish it to the Power BI cloud service. Very fast. Publishing the Power BI desktop to Power BI service will help us to collaborate with our colleagues. It's very easy to share the reporting link with other colleagues. And the users do not need to have the Power BI desktop installed in their laptop. Just by following the link, the user will be able to open the report. Furthermore, the access control in the Power BI service is also very easy. All right, let's do a recap. We talked about how to load the raw data into Power BI desktop and create data model. We created together an income statement. Thank you for listening.